Well, hello, Bob Dendry here, and welcome back to Cities Skylines 2, where we are building the city of Azure Delta. First of all, thank you so much to everyone who took the time to watch and leave comments on the last video. It's already after less than a week, my most popular video I've ever put out, so thanks so much for stopping by. And thank you as well to everyone who left their experience in terms of the game's performance as well. There does seem to be definitely some commonalities for people who are having issues. There's a lot of AMD GPUs in there, but also a lot of high-end NVIDIAs as well that are having issues. Myself, I'm getting around about 57, 58 frames per second right now as I'm watching my NVIDIA performance overlay, so things seem to be going pretty well. As you can see, there's some weird graphicalness though. We've got very low quality textures in that parking sign, in the road arrows and the cars and things like that, which is a bit weird, a bit jarring when you compare to the relative crispness of the buildings we're seeing everywhere here, and that dog. So obviously last episode we made a start on the city. I've just had a bit of a stutter. I don't know if you've noticed that, which some people have definitely reported having issues with stuttering as well. So, and another one. So that's very, very interesting. I have actually turned up some of the quality settings, so it could be potentially due to that. And I'm seeing, whoa, I've got my frames going down to like 20 frames per second, things like that. It's and it's happening again. Very interesting. Yeah, for whatever reason, I just started having some constant stuttering there. So I've just gone and reduced my quality settings back down to medium, which is where they were when I recorded the last video. And those stuttering issues appear to have stopped, at least for the moment. So interesting. And I guess that sort of lines up with a lot of people have said as well, that they were having stuttering unless they reduced from sort of the highest quality settings. So we'll stick at the medium for the moment. So as we can see, looking at our demand indicators over here, we need a lot of low and medium density residential, and we're also in need of some commercial, tiny bit of industrial as well. So look, we've got 7 tiles that we can unlock, and let's have a look and see what sort of options we've got. First of all, I do want to just purchase these 2 tiles here. They do give us a little bit on this side of the river, but it's primarily just sort of to tie up the rest of this edge of the current sort of little landmass that we're on. I think as well, we might unlock the rest of these, and that'll give us some nice sort of wide areas that we can potentially look to build on as well. So let's get those unlocked. And we need to have some consideration to where we're going to build. So I like this as a little bit of an old town type thing. We do have quite a bit of a separator with this highway. That's going to be quite a significant barrier for any sort of parts of the city we build on the left-hand side of it as we're looking down right now. And I think a good option we would have here is to actually convert this to probably just a 4-lane road like we've got here on Park Street. And we could also use that opportunity to shoot the road over the top and build an interchange so that we can have access to this side of the motorway as well. I do just want to take the opportunity to repair Park Street here, because I mentioned I wasn't happy with, how this whole thing has happened. And I did get a tip in terms of how to fix that. So look, what we're going to do, we're going to quickly pause and we're going to delete probably a couple of segments here just so we can make it nice and smooth. And from there, we will grab our 4-lane road. We, in fact, might switch this to a divided road, which we unlocked last episode. And it probably makes sense because this might be a sort of a slightly higher speed section of track. So if we turn off snap to zoning cell length, we can actually hook into the center like so. As you can see, it's sort of snapping to the different parts of the road, and we can hook into the center there, which makes it, I think, a much nicer connection. Some of the sort of lane markings are still a little bit weird, but hey, is what it is. I also don't like having a turnaround there. I wonder if we can turn that off and just have the lanes sort of merge together. Can we turn off, if we turn off right turn? Yes, okay. So if we turn off right turn, you no longer got that U-turn. Instead, the lane will just merge in here and you'll be on your way. Might go ahead and just upgrade the rest of this to a divided road as well. And what do we got? We got 50 at the moment. I believe that's kilometers an hour. Can we increase the limit? I don't think we actually can, unfortunately. But that's okay. We could get... Ooh, actually, that's quite nice, isn't it? We're not going to have parking on this section of road, at least not at the moment. No, I think it'll be fine at the moment, but we obviously got the option of adding grass strips to it. Looks like any sort of road, which is really cool. And I love how modular the streets in this game are, that they allow you to add in, you know, things, whether that be, you know, no turns, grass strips, wider sidewalks, things like that. And of course, you did have some of that stuff in Cities Skylines 1, but only when you used mods. So I love that this stuff is in the vanilla version of the game. But right now, what we're going to be doing is decommissioning Linden Highway and replacing it with a just a regular 4-lane type road, and that'll allow us to punch that over the top and sort of head into this area where we might potentially want to develop in the future. I don't have any plans in terms of where we're going to develop next. Right now, anyway, I just want to get this sort of conversion made, and that will really open up a lot more land that we can use. So let's get this paused. I was going to consider building while paused, but we don't want to, you know, have our citizens need to go like literally all the way around to come back into the city. So we'll give them a pause. we'll help them out in that regard. But yeah, we're going to get rid of all of this highway, all of our ramps. And I wonder if we can do a spooey here. I don't know if it's going to work with the sort of vanilla style, but I'm going to try. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, you know, you can't blame a guy for trying, can you? So actually, now that I think of it, if we want a spooey, we're going to need larger roads. So no, we're not going to be building the spooey at this time, sadly. Instead, yeah, we'll just have a 4-lane divided highway, same as we used just before, and we'll have that pop over the top. Okay. And we'll just have this sort of start to curve around. And we can have it line up with our existing road. Perfect. And then on the other side, we'll just more or less do the same thing. Have it sort of curve around. I think we'll just leave it for the moment and not do much else in terms of it on this side anyway. Just having a little look around to see if we can potentially make this a little bit more compact, especially on the left-hand side. I think on the right-hand side, we're looking okay. But we actually, I believe, do need to unlock highways, which luckily we've got some progression points. So let's upgrade that. That would have been a bit unfortunate if we've deleted this road and then realized, crap, we can't actually replace anything. But no, we're okay. It will be okay. It'll be fine. And we can build some ramps. And yeah, I definitely think we can bring these ramps a little bit further in. Let's make it a little bit more compact. Now that I've built this, it looks pretty good, but I think we're going to rebuild the other side just to make it a little bit more even in terms of where they connect up. So let's try that again. Might need to turn a bit of snapping off as well. Okay, and I've built those in the wrong direction. Okay, and I think that looks pretty good. I think it'll definitely benefit once we have some sort of 6-lane roads, being able to increase some of the sort of throughput here. But I think we actually have some 5-lane roads we can use already. So We do indeed. How do I make it go the other way though? Okay, cool. No, actually, let's just leave that as a 4-lane road at the moment. We'll probably want to increase it to 6 lanes once we get up that far, I think. Yeah, this is, I would say, an improvement. I mean, the traffic flow isn't quite as free, I guess, but it'll allow us to shoot a road through here and start to develop this side of the city as well. However, what you've probably noticed is our demand is now going absolutely crazy. So we need to start to get our next residential and also commercial area planned. Now, before we do that, I just want to have a look at our contours, because that will give us a good indication of where might be a good place to build. So we want a nice, reasonably flat sort of segment of land. And I'm looking over here. We could potentially, I want to leave this big bit of forest here free for a future forestry area. But I think we could definitely flatten out this pad and allow a bit of a suburb sort of at the top of the hill here, which might be maybe a little bit nicer a suburb potentially. Let's have a look-see. Can we, I was going to say, can we go beyond the city limits? And no, we can't do. Which is unfortunate. It does constrain us a little bit, but I think it will be fine. I'm just going to flatten out a pad here, and of course, once we unlock this next tile, we'll need to smooth it out a little bit. I was going to say we've uncovered some ocean there, but it's now uncovered. So if we go to probably about here or so, we can smooth this out. I have broken the water. Soften this. Unfortunately, we can't soften this bit now. Oh, we can. We just need to be very careful in terms of how we do it. So we'll just soften this out. I probably actually want to drag. I'm confused. This is higher than here. And yet it's causing water to come through. I'm just gonna, yeah. Oh, okay, actually it's probably because we pushed the terrain up here, so we might need to, oh god, let's trench this a little bit and then soften it. And that should hopefully restore the flow of the water. If not, we've just built a new little lake here. Very nice. Okay, we've mostly fixed this. There's still a little bit of water sitting there, but hopefully that will fix itself. And hopefully we haven't broken the river anywhere else. No, it all looks pretty good. So I think we're okay. We haven't killed anyone. But yeah, now we've got this nice little pad here that we can start to plan out as a bit of a new suburb for the city. And I think we might connect this up where we've built our new... It's now Aspen Street. I don't like that. I liked Park Street. Let's rename it. Yeah, cool. And potentially what we could do is build a little border for our high school. And we can sort of punch a road under the bridge, and we can maybe have a just interchange or a intersection, I should say. So we can pretty easily build a little border. Very nice. Can we get a road under our bridge? And it looks like we can. There's yeah, pretty decent amount of clearance. There's also not a lot of not a lot of pylons there though. Don't know how I feel about that. And yeah, we can also build an intersection here as well. It does place these intersections pretty close together, and we'll need to be mindful of that, but I think it should be okay for the moment anyway. Got a bus coming in. Where's that bus going? Okay, it's like a intercity bus that's just passing through our city. Very cool. Tell you what, let's get our grid set up here, and then we'll connect it up to the rest of the city. Now, I'm not sure if there is a trick to using this grid tool, because it seems to me very imprecise. Like, you're just sort of not I don't know if I'd say guessing, but it's hard to get nice sort of precise grids using this, and I suppose that's probably, I guess, just the side effect of using it, isn't it? But we've got a little bit of grid down there. We've got some nice coverage. I think it's fairly flat, and we can just add in a few further connections of our own. Let's just measure this out, which it's not actually telling us. 112 meters, so we will do the same here. Connect up here, and then we might build just a little bit of a rounded bit so we don't cut through these contour lines. Okay, it does go down a little bit, but it's reasonably flat still, so I think that is nice. And we've got High Street here, which I think has now naturally become the road we connect down to the rest of the city, because this is going to be our sort of main street. This is where our commercial is going to be. Now, to get down to the rest of the city, we want to try and, I think, cut through these contours at a bit of a 45-degree angle or so, which should make our grades not terrible. I think, in fact, we can probably just connect up to the main road from there, couldn't we? Or do we want to go under the bridge? We might do both. Ooh, kinky. Let's try that again, shall we? Just use a simple curve. See if we can join up here. Can't go too far. Okay. All right, what we'll do then, we'll build a straight section, and then we'll do our curve. Apparently we're overlapping, even though we're like past that part. That's interesting. Okay. Wasn't 100% simple, but we made it in the end. And what shall we do here? Could maybe just build sort of around like so. It'll make it less of a through connection. It'll be more just for people who want to use the main road. Like so. I think that makes sense. I think. So, we should have power and water up here. And that's all we need. So we're going to start to build out some residential in this area. And I think we might actually start with some commercial zones. So we'll have that on this main street. So we're going to go with 6 on either side, like so. And that's immediately starting to build up. We might stick maybe some row housing behind. Oh, and we've unlocked a new milestone while we're doing that. So let's head over to the progression panel first. We'll come back to this in a sec, and let's have a look and see what we've unlocked. So we have unlocked livestock farming, stone mining, fire and rescue, and police and administration. And those are 2 new development trees, as you would see. So if we pop across to development, you'll now see that we now have access to fire and rescue and police and administration. So we've got some options that we can look at here. But really importantly, now that we've unlocked those two things, we now need to get down those buildings, because as you would know, similar to in City Skylines 1, once you have the capability to build a type of city service, you will now have the demand for it. So we're going to now start to see fires, and we're going to start to see crime, things like that. So let's have a look and see where we could place down our fire. As you can see, we've got high fire hazard right now because we don't have, anything taking care of that hazard. So potentially we could maybe get one over here. That could be a good shout because it is actually fairly central if this is our only fire building we've got. And, it's got easy access to go over Park Street to any new area we build here. It can pop across to our new suburb, to Old Town and the industrial and landfill areas. So I think that might be a good shout. And in terms of our police, it's actually quite a bit larger in terms of the buildings. So we can't stick that in the same sort of block/area. But we could potentially stick it over here. Just before we go too far into this, I just want to finish zoning our residential over here in this new suburb. So I'm going to lay down this as row housing. And then just surrounding it, we're going to get some low density. We might leave this area free for potentially a future park once we unlock parks. But yeah, this should be hopefully a decent little boost to our population. As I mentioned, we have unlocked a few specialist industries. So if we pop across to zoning, we now have available livestock farming and also stone mining. Now, if you click on each type of industry, it will tell you sort of where the where the natural resources lay to facilitate that. So we've got a few different bits of stone mining that we could potentially be putting down. Livestock farming, however, look at this. Unfortunately, we've actually built on two of our sort of little bits of livestock that we could be laying down, but not here. We've actually got a nice little area we could utilize, get some farms down and things like that. And that is going to be our next stop. Luckily, we've already unlocked this tile, and we could potentially unlock this next tile that will give us just the very edge of that. I don't think we're going to do that though. I think we're probably going to be fine with what's available here. And we're just going to lay down a gravel road, which, I mean, at least in Australia, this isn't like a main motorway. It is a highway, but it's sort of more of an arterial rather than a proper motorway. So what we can do is just lay a little bit of gravel road out here. Now, while our gravel roads do surprisingly supply water and power, our highways do not. So we're going to need to connect this up to our water and power network. And that's okay, we'll do that shortly. But first, I just want to get our zone laid down so we can get that developing. We'll also notice that there is a little bit of contours to deal with, but I don't think we'll need to do anything there. Our industry should sort of take care of itself in that regard. So we're going to lay down our farmhouse, which is going to get us started. And then similar to what we did with our landfill, we just need to sort of add the nodes to create our farming area. I'm going to see if we can get this under the road as well. Or under the highway, I mean. Might complete it, and then let's see. Answer is yes, but it can't have pylons through it. So we're just going to build probably a bit of an ugly little monstrosity here, but if we pop back to zoning, we've still got a fair amount of fertile land that we could be using. I'm not sure I like the fact that it's a circle. I suppose it makes sense in terms of like an area of like influence or whatever that it's a circle, but I would much prefer to be able to have, you know, square things, I guess. And yeah, as you can see, it's complaining because it does not have power, water or sewerage, so we'll need to get that hooked up. So we're going to use our combined pipes to snap on here, head under our river and hook on to, well, probably just onto here really. And I managed to do that properly, which is good, because as you would know, I struggled in the last episode and someone asked me how low my IQ was to not be able to lay down pipes properly. So luckily I succeeded in this instance. I believe we may need a transformer as well, because I don't think we can run... I mean, we probably can run just a regular line as long as we want, but I think it probably just makes a bit more sense for us to have a transformer here. So we can hook this up and have it head to our power plant and hook in there. Maybe. Lovely. Those look like they're knotted, which is no good. And from here, can we just place these across? No, we can't actually place them across the fields. That counts as an overlapping item. So overlapping items? Why you do that? Okay, yes, that is how to do it, but like overlapping with itself? Question mark? Is that actually allowing us to build underground power cables? So we don't even need to be doing this. Ah. Okay. So what we can do then is delete these and we can rebuild the field that we removed, right? Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I like that. All right, very cool. So we should start to see some production. We have 0 of 1 employees apparently right now. You would think there would be more employees at a farm, but hey, is what it is. Ooh, and we've got someone waiting for a hearse. Okay. So how many hearses do we have? We've only got 1 vehicle in use, so I guess the hearse is probably just on its way there right now, right? Let's have a look. Hearse is returning. Oh, okay. It literally, whoops, literally just picked up. Cool. All right. Things are looking good in this new suburb. It's slowly developing. Would like if we could get the row houses all facing the one road. I don't know if we have the opportunity to disable zoning in this game yet. I'm not seeing options to do so. But that's okay. I suppose you probably would occasionally get some odd person who decided that they were going to build their house a different way. So yeah, it's okay. And I think this is developing quite nicely. As you can see though, we have a lot, and I mean a lot of demand for both commercial and also industrial. So what we can probably do is utilize the boundary of our landfill site to get some further industrial in. I wonder how the landfill site is going anyway. So it's got a lot of storage space still available. So yeah, I don't think we're going to need to expand it anytime soon. And yeah, we might potentially get a road sort of just bordering this, and we can get some industrial gridding down on that. So let's go ahead, get that down. We want a straight road. And we can just build a little bit of a curved road here. Lovely. Make our way around the block. I know we laid down all these trees to try and cover this up, and now we're literally just demolishing all of the trees. And I'm sorry to the trees, but we demand more industrial space, and more industrial space we will get. And we'll probably get a little bit of grid here. Just like a single sort of grid. We can connect you up there. And yeah, now we've got a little bit more space we can use for our industrial. We're continuing to have some healthcare issues up at New Suburb up here. So I think we might see if we can lay down a medical clinic at least. It looks like they're okay for hearses. But yeah, I mean, based on our capacity and our average health is actually quite low. So we might sneak in a medical clinic here, which will work in with any sort of future expansion of the grid. But yeah, we'll just allow these people to, I guess, breathe a little bit easier and have a medical clinic nice and close to them. Hang on, why are you not High Street anymore? God damn it. Stop renaming my roads. And we do actually have some further squares we can unlock since reaching the large village milestone. So, what are we looking at here? Got a few options. We've of course started this new sort of section of our city over here, and we could potentially look to expand that as our next steps. Might start with 2 tiles. We're not going to use all 5. And that's just going to give us some additional land that we can build on. We'll of course need to do some leveling, though probably not too much, because then we're going to start to have like a cliff. So we're going to have to recognize the fact that we are going to start to have some grades here, but hopefully they're not too bad. And I mean, they're not terrible, to be honest. We can probably push this out a little bit, and we're actually fairly flat here. We just need to probably flatten this section here. So if we just grab this, we can build out a little bit of a pad. We can soften it. Increase my brush size. Soften some more. And do some softening here as well. Actually, before I do that, I might push this out a little bit, and then we can soften. we've got a little bit of flat section here where our railway line is. So we could potentially build a station there in future once we get that far. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that. So we do have a little bit of a area here that we can sort of grid out. It's not going to be massive, but it's not terrible. I probably will sort of try and realign these power lines as well to give us a bit more room to work with. Beautiful. So yeah, we've got a little bit of grid here. It's not going to be too much. We're going to have to accept that we're going to have a little bit of grading here, but it's not too bad. We're getting a little bit of water coming through here as well, so we might need to quickly adjust some of our levels. Oh no, I've stuffed it now, haven't I? Oh, what is happening? Stop that! Oh. Okay. And we're just going to sort of have this road running reasonably parallel to our power lines. And then we'll have the next one is going to connect up to High Street. Next, I want a bit of grid up here, but we want to keep our sort of way to get up here fairly, you know, not too much of a grade. I think that's okay. That's not too bad. And yeah, then we're just going to lay out a bit more grid. We might even, in fact, grid slightly different up here. Maybe. Potentially we might grid parallel to or alongside our rail line here, which will hopefully, once we get that far, make it easy to build a rail line there. All right, so we've got a nice, decent more grid that we can build here. So we've got massive demand for commercial still. So we will lay down some nodes of commercial in this area. So just regular medium density rather than row housing up here, I think. Oh, hang on, what's happened? Oh, okay. My bad. We just sort of went and overrode the zoning that we just did, so I'll fix that. And we should be able to just sneak in a bit more low density over here as well. With like a corner type shop here as well. Lovely. I will note that with High Street here, we've got a cul-de-sac. So if there's an accident on High Street, our residents can't get back out. So we do have the option to have Spring Street join up to what, Birch Street, which also sort of has the opportunity to link directly up to this second bit of the neighborhood. We're going to do that. Of course, this would probably not be a particularly shall we say, desirable route, driving past the power point, but driving past the power plant, but, you know, some people wouldn't mind, and I'm sure the rest of the residents in an emergency would, you know, just grin and bear it. And here we are, we're a grand village. Happy days. So that unlocks some really cool stuff. If we pop over to the progression panel, you can see we've got a few things of interest here. We've unlocked natural disasters, so we should start to see some crazy stuff happening around the village. We also unlocked low rent housing. That is obviously higher density, affordable housing, so we're likely to see less tax income, but of course is able to help people who potentially might be struggling with cost of living at the moment. We've also unlocked low density offices, so our first foray into the office. Grain farming, forestry, which of course we've reserved quite a bit of an area around our city for, and excitingly, transportation. We've unlocked buses, which is great because I love public transport, and we've also unlocked some parks and recreation as well. So just before we finish off, I would like to just add in a couple of little items here to take advantage of the new features that we've unlocked. So first of all, leisure. So we should be able to squeeze in here at least a couple of parks. So we might even get a park over here and a dog park next door. So that will cater for, obviously, our residents who just want to hang around and not get accosted by a dog, which, I mean, dogs are awesome, so I don't know why you would want to do that. But, you know, there's a little dog play area here, lots of sort of agility courses, things like that. Very, very cool indeed. And we did promise our residents over here a park as well, so we will get one in up the top. Maybe a plaza. And also a... Ooh, the small playground is genuinely small. So we might even get that up here. Obviously, these are residents that might not have backyards, or definitely don't have backyards, because these are small apartment buildings. So we can get a couple of playgrounds down for them to take the kids to, you know, run around, wear them out before bed, things like that. So very, very cool and very useful to our residents indeed. But buses. So this is where we want to be focusing the rest of the episode. So the bus depot is quite large, as you can see, and it makes sense for us to have it in or around our industrial area. I'm just trying to find a space. Over here is okay. It's reasonably close to a main road, but it's not on it. So yeah, let's pop it right there. If we look at the upgrades available, we can upgrade to have electric buses possible. That'll add obviously some charging infrastructure, things like that. Or we can just add an extra garage, which, okay, is actually a separate building as well. So it looks like you can probably get quite a few there. And before we finish off, I just want to get probably just one bus route in at the moment. Oh, hang on. Ooh, we got a fire. And that looks so much better than fires looked in Cities Skylines 1. That's quite cool. Some nice particle effects. We've got a bit of smoke. I'm sure there's going to be a mod to increase this because, you know, definitely there'd be more smoke than this. The smoke wouldn't just be dissipating 20 meters off the ground, but I think that looks actually really cool. Now, as opposed to in Cities Skylines 1, where you just place your bus stops or wherever you place them as you're laying out the transit line, more in the vein of perhaps Transport Fever 2, you actually have to place your stops before you can have buses stop at them. And you've got just regular bus stop signs, and you've got just regular bus stops where there might just be the sign and maybe just a single bench. And then you've got bus stops with this shelter. So obviously your bus stop signs are more of a suburban thing, whereas your shelters would be potentially in cities where there's lots of demand. So I think our first bus route is probably going to run from the suburbs up here possibly into the city where we've got our schools. So we might get some bus shelters in here, which of course everyone's very happy about. And maybe just one up here in our higher density residential. We'll probably put a couple of stops here. They're not really going to be used, but potentially if we expand in the future, we'll already have stops there good to go. And from there, we'll have stops at the high school, at the primary school, and then we might just have a bus shelter outside of our cemetery as well. So now that we've got laid down, we're going to use our bus stop tool to create a new line. That's very messy. I do not like this at all. I'm just going to delete a few stops here. So up until there is fine. I wonder if potentially we might need to put our bus stop on the other side of the road instead. Oh, okay, we've actually lost our line. So we need to start that one over again. My bad. Yeah, I think that's probably a little bit nicer. And then just back down High Street, or apparently it's Cypress Street again. It's no longer High Street once again. And we'll complete the line there. Very cool. We have unlocked districting tools, which will allow us to sort of give names to these and also isolate services to them, so that if we have, you know, a medical center or hearses, things like that, they will prefer to service this area before they go outside it. But we don't have any time for that today. In fact, we are out of time for this episode, full stop. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm continuing to find this game fun. I would say the performance issues aren't quite as bad. There's some weird LODs, like the trees you can see on screen right now are still quite strange. But overall, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm still seeing it around about 60 frames per second after I took the settings off high when I was having those massive stutters at the beginning of the video. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you get a ding to your device the next time I post a video. You can find links to all my social media in the description, so please jump on there, like, follow, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. Big shout out to my Founders Club patron, Caleb. Caleb, thank you so much for helping to make this content possible. If you've enjoyed this video and you're after something a little bit different to watch, why not check out my Transport Fever 2 The Long Game series. This is my longest running series I've put together to date. People seem to be enjoying it, so why not give it a go? You can see a link on screen now. But until next time, I'm Bob Dendry. This is Cities Skylines 2. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.